Good evening. Yeah, hello. Um, I had a different topic slated when I scheduled this at like 8:30. But turns out Abe's talking about older targets, so I figured I'd change my topic. It's pretty simple to find a new topic since so much goes on in the world of targeted individuals. Uh, what I figured we'd talk about is pretentious perp trolls and their fake interest. Um, as I walk through the list of other targets that are having lives or whatever, and you spend a little time in the chat, um, you can pretty much uh, discern which people anymore are actually um, interested in what's happening to targets, and those that are basically either just trying to mock the target or that are feigning interest to get you to talk about certain things. Now, I personally, I don't know if that's so that the gang stalkers can uh, formulate a point of attack towards, a particular target that they're trying to get information out of, glean information. But usually in a condescending tone, they'll ask questions about, oh, what do you think about weed? Or what do you think about this subject? Or what do you think about this and that? If you get what I'm driving at. They'll act as if they're they're consulting you for uh, information, or kind of like a weak form of interrogation, which is basically what gang stalkers do with V2K and remote neural monitoring. Is like a waterboarding tactic, where they just repetitively bombard you with the same material over and over, where they constantly talk about the same things about you to whoever they have that's listening. I personally haven't found which Discord or website or whatever where they have their showcase or whatever you want to call it, whatever target. But I'm absolutely certain that they do that. They on a daily basis have what I've heard them say on V2K is showcase or showtime, whatever, where they're gonna mock you or make an exhibit of you or example of you on there. on their, for lack of a better word, podcast or whatever platform it is that they're exhibiting your targeting on, which all of the people that they invite are most likely gang stalkers or whatever. But what I was getting at was the topic about pretentious perps. You've got the pretentious perps like the cheap handlers, the nerve gorillas, those types that perpetually mock targeted individuals with oh, you don't show any evidence, or this isn't really happening to you, or no one's targeting you, this isn't real, blah, blah, blah. You know the story. That crap. If you are a targeted individual like myself, you've had numerous encounters with these individuals popping in your channel. Such as the Kiwi Farm types, those people that, you know, are just there to make fun of your plight. They don't actually try to understand what's happening to you. They try to exacerbate it, or to, you know, vilify you, or make light of it. In no shape or form are they trying to vindicate what's happening to you or to anybody that's experiencing this. The same type of waterboarding terrorist group, mocking and threatening and harassing. And I was kind of hoping to have someone in here to talk with tonight, but you know, the person I was in contact with hasn't gotten back with me, so there might not be a panel, but I did list the streamer of like, if anyone feels the compunction to come up and just have a bullshit session with me about anything in general. It doesn't necessarily have to be the topic, but just before I went live, I saw that Absent-Minded Abe was live, so I went in and just checked out what's going on, and I noticed that he was talking about a target that is no longer around, but that was kind of going to be my topic, was targets that, you know, just aren't doing anything now, and then all of a sudden they pop up and they're doing videos again after an undescript amount of time. But there are some targets that have had issues with what's going on. Like I personally have never been to his page, but I've heard a lot of stuff about nappy-headed groups, and SHP used to have a channel that basically is no longer exists, and have heard nothing from her. And she used to seem to have a lot of information to pass around. Might help you as a target. But considering the pretentious perp or YouTube stalkers that we all see, that will show up in a person's chat, make belligerent comments, but in a meek type manner, so as not to really, it's kind of vague, trying not to just blatantly outright put a big old sign over their head where it says I'm a perp. But there are a lot of them. The real targets, the real targeted individuals, have, from my opinion, my perspective, don't have a lot of disparaging remarks for other people that claim to be a target. If you are a target, you're not going to go around looking for other targets to mock. You're not going to go around looking for other targets' evidence to mock. You're not going to make light of another target's experience because it differs in some fashion from your own. At least me personally, I'm not going to do that. I don't see a point in trying to invalidate another target's experience just because the particulars of that experience might not mirror my own. I've said before, let's say if you have evidence that you exhibit on your channel, such as, spending time on the street, filming cars with one headlights, or people walking around with target bags, or things like that. Things that aren't really discernible as an attack. Now, should you get like the directed conversations where, you actually get audio recorded of, what certain individuals are saying, and it pertains to you, and you can identify that and contained with actual evidence of that. But early on in my targeting, the helicopters would hover over the house. People would go by honking or walk by and say things that were pertaining to me, and I know they were. As I've said before, I don't spend a lot of time sitting there walking around with my phone, recording every Tom, Dick, and Harry walking around in the grocery store and saying there's a perp or there's, such and such. Hello there, Ollie Kabooger. Hi, Virginia. How are you doing tonight? Just stopping in to say hello. Somebody used my name and pick in Nerve Girl is live today. I was on the phone with Angels at the yeah. When I texted him, he mentioned something about that. He said he was gonna text me back when he got home to maybe come and join me on here, but I haven't heard from him. But yeah, I totally feel your pain with that, Virginia, because that's a part of the gang stalking scenario where they impersonate you. They throw your name tag on and go get on someone's live and post some disgusting pics or say some, do some really disgusting shit using your name. And I've had that happen before. And I did the same thing. I said, hey, I was sitting in the chat and I'm like, that's not me. I'm not that person posting these dick pics on your channel. But the problem I had with that is that after that happened, it was like, oh, that's just somebody on a sock account. I don't give a fuck that was somebody on a sock account. You put them on your channel and then you ended the shit and didn't even apologize to me. You said, oh, don't worry about it. It's just somebody on a sock account. No. That is an illegal impersonation. That's someone using your good name and trying to discredit you for without your knowledge or consent. If you're a public figure and even like us, if you're a person and someone is impersonating you, that's a highly illegal thing to do. Yet YouTube doesn't do anything about that. They don't. It's like they condone that shit. It's like they're more than happy to let people go around and slander people up and do that kind of shit. And even if you call them on it, they don't reprimand them. And here you are, the person being disparaged, getting fucked over, and it's like, whatever. But well, I'm sorry to hear that. But I'll say this again. I don't like Nerd Gorilla. I don't like what Nerd Gorilla does. And I had him on here one time, and I, in no uncertain terms, let him know that I thought he was a shithead, and I'd do it again because he's a shithead. And I posted links to him as proof. He said, "Oh, gang stalking's not real." Blah blah blah. I said, "Bullshit." Google advertises this shit for companies. That doesn't mean it doesn't exist. That means perfectly well that it does exist, and they know it exists, and he knows it exists, and he knows it does. He's a troll perp trying to discredit targets just like the rest of the fucking troll perps. That's what this show right here is about. That's just it. I use my name. I have the one account. Like I said, A long time ago, 15 years ago, I had an account where I used the name Dark Helmet. I haven't used that. I haven't posted a video or done anything with that. Never even log into it anymore from 15 years ago. And I don't use that. This is my only account. This is my name. That account might as well not even exist anymore. Well, Ollie, as the title says, it's about pretentious perps and their feigned interest. Um, uh, Everybody's seen Burger Boy, who's always frequenting people's channels and talking about targeted individuals and that. But and says he's not doing it in a malicious fashion, but everyone else in the group that he associates with, like Marty and a few other people, are perps. They go in just to perp people. They ask questions about B2K like they don't know what it is, but they know damn well what it is. Seen them in more channels than I can count, asking the same stupid fucking questions that they already have answers to, and pretending like they don't know shit about gang stalking when they're the fuckers doing this shit. That's what I mean by pretentious perps. Like Chief Handler, Vice Handler, those guys. Do I know this guy in here? Are you meaning Ollie? No, I had never seen him before. I just saw him over on Age Channel. I don't know anything about him. But I do know what 07 means. That means salute if you're playing video games. And I played a shit ton of video games for several years. And I got a lot of friends that I know that play video games that I still stay in contact with. A lot of them are Australia, England, Japan, all over the world that I know and have known for a long time. But 07 is meaning like, salute. Yeah, well, I've never watched his show, but I have seen the attitude they convey in channels. Now, Burger Boy low key fucking does this shit like he feigns interest in targets. But Marty's a blatant fucking perp. I've told him that to his face. Just like I'll tell anybody as I see it. No, he means 07 means like it's just it's like, here's the 7, your arm is the 7, and the O is your head, like you're saluting. Like salute to a different gamer. It's like a common courtesy, let's say. If you were like me playing Mech Warrior for years and years as Equalize this piece of shit PGI, you would come into the chat and flip up the 07 as a salute to other players. Yeah, that's what it means. And hi, Teddy. How are you doing? You've never seen this channel before. Well, good to see you. I've seen you in other channels. Donata, Virginia. I played Quake Arena a little bit, not a lot, but I used to play Jedi Knight Outcast, and I was DFO HC Noon in Outcast, and also I was Dark Helmet. I don't know if you're familiar with battlestats.com, but I'm kind of like a legend on there. I'm in the top 10 overall all-time best players on that. It's a stats recording website, and you can look it up. I'm Dark Helmet. that was a long time ago in a galaxy far, far away. Yeah. But if you're a gamer, you pretty much know exactly what '07 means, or you should, because it's a common courtesy to salute other players, even if you hate their guts. I'm not really a fan of any console gaming systems. Um, I, I don't like those gaming controllers. I'm a mouse keyboard guy, period, or a joystick. But '07 is basically a greeting, or a, you know, we're gamers, we're game players. But back to the topic. Um, no, like I said, I was just on Abe's channel. You came over here from over there, Ollie. What is this is live over now? Um, um, Abe himself, he's well aware of the basically the topic I'm talking about, the pretentious perps. I mean, a lot of us are. A lot of us understand that you're going to get the pretentious perps coming in and trying to run their game on you while you're playing. Uh, yeah, I like Journey, and she's who she is, and she's gonna be who she is, whether people like it or not. I kind of had a little run-in with Camby Bambi on her channel the other day uh, about some of the, she was trying to tell Journey how to live, that what she's doing isn't good for her. I'm like, bitch, that's none of your business. It's none of your fucking business what she wants to do with her life. If you don't like her for her, what the fuck are you doing here? Um, uh, you know, trying to tell people what to do with their lives on YouTube. Really? How they should live their lives on YouTube? Really? Is that your thing? I'm not down with that. Damn right they can't run no drag. Fuck that. Yeah, she is pretty. She's very pretty. Good looking young girl. Um, I don't know anything about Candy being Alice. Don't know nothing about that. Um, you're a normie, much like. Now, what do you mean by normie? Are you trying to say I'm not a normal person because I'm targeted by gang stalker scumbag? Is that what you're trying to say? I don't understand that. Um, that's uh, I'm 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 not down with that. Um, it's okay. I just don't. I no. Um, I'm not racist. No, I have I have I have spent a lot of time around people of different races. Yeah, I'm not down with that fascist bullshit. I don't dig it. I don't dig it at all. Well, I understand you're not in the TI community. Um, I get what you mean, but just the term normie. Um, targeted individuals are normal people. Okay, we don't have like 3 eyes or arms growing out of our fucking back or nothing like that. We're everyday people just like you. It's just we're being stalked and harassed by groups of scumbag, asshole, fascist Nazis. That's our only difference. Yeah, well, I'm a pretty normal guy myself. Um, I just, um, I mean, I look at the same porn channels you look at. I play the same video games you look at. I eat the same kind of food you eat. I drink water. uh, I have habits like everybody else. Um, so that's not normal, dude. You don't look at porn? Well, that's not normal, dude. It's degenerate. Why is it degenerate? Why do you think porn is degenerate? Why exactly do you think porn is degenerate? Just out of curiosity. Yeah, I know it's true. Um, um, I have a Facebook with like 1,300 friends on there. People that, well, Facebook acquaintances, but a lot of them are my family, just like a lot of people. Um, yeah, that was how we used to do emoticons. You had to make your own out of hash marks and dashes and things like that. But well, how about your age? That's not really that important. But you know, I'm an old fart. I'm 55. I'll be 56 in a few months. Um, yeah, I know I don't look like it, but that's beside the point. But anybody who has a inclination, you can click this link and you can come in and you can actually use your words if you like. I'm I'm perfectly willing to talk to just about anyone, even perps. Actually, I put like a standing challenge to perps to come on my channel and get a little FaceTime with the perps. And I've had one or two come in here. Matter of fact, one we've talked about, Mr. Nerd Gorilla. I shouldn't say Nerd Gorilla. I'll say his real name, Nerve Gorilla. But he is a nerd, and he's proud of being a nerd. I'm kind of a nerd myself. Um, good skin and shiny hair. I see. You say, so porn, it objectifies sex, it turns something intimate and something to something gross and immoral. Sex should be private and personal, not a show. Well, therein lies the conundrum, because not everybody agrees with you. Oh, well, no, the the remote neural monitoring is constant. Um, the dream manipulation, the V2K, even though they have it turned down to a very low whisper right now, they're still here. They're still talking, and they're still listening, and they're still watching. Um, you a typer? Oh, okay. Okay, well, um, that's your prerogative. I mean, this, I don't know what country you're from, but pretty much wherever you live, that's your prerogative to have an opinion. But all I was meaning with that is as I've seen, there's a big problem with people's opinions or views that try to force them on others, kind of like the Republican Party is trying to do today. They're trying to force their values onto everyone that might not agree with them. Um, all the time, Teddy, all the time, 24/7. I'm telling you, 24/7, 24/7 V2K harassment. Granted, it's not as obnoxious as it was 6 months ago to 3 years, 4 years ago, but it's still there. Um, and I've had a couple things happen to where I've caused them a little bit of anxiety um, through actions that I've taken, and uh, they they don't do the street theater as much anymore. They don't come around and stand outside and talk in their little group about me so much anymore. Uh, I don't think they try to manipulate my online identity so much anymore as they did. They still do, but not as aggressively as they have in the past. Um, I mean, they were manipulating my mail. They were trying to manipulate my social security disability. They were trying to manipulate my driver's license. They stole my registration out of my car. They did a bunch of things that were blatant illegal. Um, that that I was diligent and vigilant and keep ahead on that. They hacked my computer um, early on while I was targeted, and I wasn't even online for like 6 months. And when I did finally get back online and reconnected to internet and stuff like that, they had um, they had been using my likeness and I don't know, recorded video of me on other channels making mock videos of me and stuff. While I had zero online presence. The only thing I had was my cell phone, which was really incapable of doing anything on. It's a cheap phone, so it wasn't capable of going on YouTube or like. And you got a good point there, Teddy. It comes in waves. Um, I'm in agreement with you there. Learn to deal and drown it out a little, and just to cope with it as best you can. Um, it's still there. They're still just the last few weeks. It's kind of the last couple weeks it's slowed down because they had hit me really hard with two weapons in my stomach and my groin area. And in the on Angels Live, I showed where they actually burnt me on the chest here with it. Um, um, well, how much of my day is spent thinking in regards to gang stalking? Um, huh? My wife just said all of it. I, I do my best to ignore it, but when it's always there, it's not like it's it's like that. It's like that pet you have, right? That no matter what you're doing, they want all of your attention. You know, um, if you try to do something else, they want to try and they want to try and keep your attention and keep you in their box or whatever you want to call it. Like, look at it like as if you're Schrodinger's cat, right? Um, you're in that box and there's the arsenic poison and the cat are both in there. Well, it's alive and dead at the same time, always, right? Until you look at it, until you actually expose it. Um, not completely. Um, they do a lot of trying to distract me all the time, but after you've been targeted and had aggressive voice to skull bombarding you for 3 years, constant 24/7, you get to where it's like whatever anymore because it's all repetitious usually, um, just to get a reaction out of you. But um, as I said before, if there was such thing as a firewall to turn off your brain, to think, to block your brain from thinking, I would pay for it in a minute. Um, oh, so since you've been talking to Abe, your targeting has ramped up, huh? I'm sorry about that. Um, no, the the sleep deprivation is definitely not good for a person, and as they're constantly harassing you while you're trying to go to sleep or even as you're sleeping, and the second you wake up, they're right there. They're right there on you. They've been going 24/7. They don't they don't take breaks. Um, they infiltrate your dreams. Um, I don't know exactly if that's all from remote neural monitoring or from subliminal messaging through V2K, but I mean, like, if you say a person's name, you're going to think about that person, right? Like if I was to say your mother's name to you, she's gonna, you're gonna think about your mother and have images of your mother and things that have happened to you with your mother. And that is a part of it. Well, I'm way past 3 years too, but that's just over, um, blatant, just hardcore over 4 years, constant harassment, uh, dream manipulation, death threats, just 24/7. But um, my targeting started in like 2000, so it's been a long time. But um, and I know the reasons why I was targeted, and that's something else. If you know why you were targeted, the reason behind it. Once you voice that reason, right? Like for years and years and years, it was covert, and I, looking back, realized things that were part of targeting that I hadn't really, put together as gang stalking, as being targeted. But once I um, voiced a music theft to someone, overt targeting was like instantaneous. It started and it never stopped. And they've done other things that have to do with intellectual property that exacerbated the target. But anyway, as far as the topic goes, the the people that surround you, that feign interest in what targeting is, and I'm not pointing any fingers right now. They at times will come in groups. A number of people will all of a sudden, it'll go from like there's one or two people watching to 8 people watching, and all of a sudden you're being bombarded by perp questions and perp comments. Um, Aberrant salience. Have you heard of this term? Um, I'm not really familiar with it, but I'll look into it. But I'm not really familiar with that. But um, the abject reality that gang stalkers try to project onto a target, be it through coincidence, uh, repetition, um, the terms that they use when they appear in your chat or wherever you see them at. Um, reflect in, in, in an exacting fashion like the last perp, such as the terms "how dare you" or "no one's targeting you," "you're not important enough," "why would anybody stalk you," that kind of thing. I wasn't trying to say I wasn't taking your comment as being negative, Teddy. As I was saying, um, not all targets' experiences are identical. Granted, they're similar because the gang stalkers all use a similar script or whatever you want to call it, a program. Um, uh, some people might get more of the one headlight. Some people might get more of the helicopters. Some people might not get V2K. Some people might not be afflicted with remote neural monitoring. Others might get street theater on a constant or noise campaigns on a constant. They might or might not be giving you death threats 24/7 like they are me. I don't know. Not all the particulars are identical in everyone's case. It's like the script is the same, but it's catered to the target. The things that bother you. Let's say if you're really religious, if you're devout religious, they're going to play on your religion. If you're a homosexual, they're going to play on that. If you're single, they're going to play on that. If you're married, they're going to attack that. They attack things that are that pertain to you. That that's just how they do it. That is something right there. That word right there, empathy. Gang stalkers don't exhibit empathy. They don't exhibit compassion. They don't exhibit morals. They don't care about you personally or your family or what they're doing to you. They see you as a paycheck. You're a paycheck. You're no longer a human to them. Once you're targeted, there's no boundaries. There's no moral compass. You're a paycheck. Some targets feel this is all spiritual. Some targets feel it's witchcraft. Some targets don't believe in the technology that they're using. So it's just dependent on the target and their experience. Well, about your comment there of Nerve Gorilla, his sole intention is to demean a target. He doesn't, even though he pretends to want to listen and to talk about what you're experiencing, he's only going to say what he wants to say about it. He's not going to absorb your experience. I say that from an objective point of view. A friend of mine here that has been trying to deal with them and getting nowhere with him, because you're not going to get anywhere with Nerve Gorilla. If you're a targeted individual and you think you're going to make him understand or see your point of view. He's not gonna do that. He's not going to uh, accept your reality. He has his agenda, and that's all it is to it. Oh well, they definitely hate me. I know that. They definitely hate you as a target. And I don't think you're wrong. If you're talking about this comment right here, no, you're not wrong in that, Ollie. You're not wrong in this comment, and you're not wrong in his intentions. Um, he's, like I've said, his sole intention is to demean targets. Otherwise, he wouldn't. Like I confronted him about putting all targets in the same box as being stupid and being uh, non-technologically savvy. I mean, I went to college for computer science. I'm nobody's fucking idiot, and he comes off that he thinks everybody's somebody. Every target is an idiot, which makes him an idiot. What people seem don't get is what people seem not to get is whether or not what you're experiencing is reality or not. You are having that experience. Well, that's why I call it abject. I use the term abject reality. Um, what you perceive as reality and every other human perceives as reality is in here. It's right in here. It's right here. Your reality is your reality. You can stand there, right, next to someone and watch an event happen and interview those two different people, and they both see something different. They both looked at the same event, but they have a different experience. It's kind of like when you used to sit around in a circle, right? And you'd whisper something in one person's ear, and that person would whisper in the next person's ear, and so on and so on and so on and so on. And when it got back to you, the first thing you heard was the dog is crossing the road. But when it gets back to you, it's the elephant kicked the dog in the ass, and now they're both dead. You know, it totally gets, as it travels around the train, the initial experience gets distorted. That's okay. I got the point. I tried I tried to I tried to I tried to grammatically help you there, but I understand what you're getting at. Not everyone's experience is the same. Reality is different for everyone. But mine started in my early 20s, now 38, and seeing it becoming more prevalent. I remember the whisper experiment in elementary school. That's what I'm talking about. Like fifth grade, we actually did that. Yeah. And by the time it came back around to you, what you said to the person next to you was gone. It was a totally different sentence that came back to you. So, um, from the perp point of view, that To understand your enemy, you have to think like your enemy, right? To catch a criminal, you have to try and think like a criminal. So that's why I come to the assertion that you are just a paycheck. A moral compass doesn't come into it for these people. You're no longer you're no longer a person to them. They look at you like you look at a steak. I'm using this for sustenance. I don't care that it came from a deer or a cow. I don't care about the cow. All I care about now is what I can what nourishment can I gain from it. It doesn't matter that they're going to hurt your family. It doesn't matter that they're going to hurt your friends. It doesn't matter that they know it's a crime. None of that matters. You're a paycheck. You're a means to an end. And lying, stealing, cheating, defaming, character assassination, they don't care what they have to do to get that paycheck. If you want to look at it from a sociological aspect, some of the people that have became your gang stalkers might have been someone you called friend, might have been someone you'd never met before. But even if they knew you, whether they were targeted themselves and the gang stalking community got some kind of dirt on them, or whether they just offered them something they couldn't refuse, that the loyalty they might have had for you to begin with didn't matter anymore because they're going to gain from it. So when you look at a perp, a troll, whatever you want to call them, Nazi, scumbag, whatever, Stasi, spy, whatever, your life now is monetary gain for them. If they can destroy your life, it's a boon. It's a boon for them. Even though that perp might hate saying that the things that they say to you, even though they might in their conscience, if they have one, not like what they had to do to you, they set that aside and do it anyway. Um, yeah, I did some class cutting. I didn't pay attention in grade school, junior high. I when I was in high school, I didn't give a shit about school. Um, I was too busy getting high and looking for the next piece of ass I was going to get. I didn't care. But as I got older, um, I went back to school. Went back to school and went to college when I was like 33, and I was taking computer science, and I got A's in every class but like two. I got a B in another one, and I failed C++ because my mother just died and my sister just died, and I didn't finish the final exam, so I got it incomplete, which is a fail. But I had I think it was a 3.25 grade point average. Yeah, I couldn't complete it because place where I worked, the boss cut our hours, and I had to choose between paying my rent, paying my car payment, or going to college. So the choice was simple. I had to keep my car to go to work, and I couldn't afford to keep going to college. So I had I had 61 units. I needed like one more class to finish to get my AS, and I didn't do it. I could always go back and get it. I have the transcripts, but I'm probably never gonna do it. But that's not the point. Um, but anyway, as the subject is, perp trolls will always be perp trolls, and you just have to learn to deal with it. Um, well, that statement right there. Some some TIs are not interested in conflict. Um, the problem with that is, um, I've been doing everything I can to conflict with gang stalkers and to get gang stalkers in trouble. And um, filling out reports to agencies, um, and other things I've done. I have every intention to make gang stalkers the criminals that they are, and bring it to light that they are criminals. That it's a world terrorist organization of crime syndicate scumbags. Um, when I joined the Navy, there's an oath you take to defend the Constitution and against all enemies, foreign and domestic. Um, these are our enemies. These are domestic enemies. They're domestic terrorists. And I'm never going to stop fighting these guys. I mean, granted, I'm not going to probably get any headway any more than anybody that has before me, but um, have to invent new and wonderful ways to keep them out of your passwords. because they use remote neural monitoring to steal people's passwords. They use remote neural monitoring to steal people's credit card numbers and every other, your social security numbers, your ID, um, things that have happened in your history. They do all that. And they use remote neural monitoring to do that with the brain-computer interface. That technology exists. It's not science fiction. Voice to skull is not science fiction. The military used it against the Afghanistan terrorists to make them surrender. Called the voice of God. They used it. It's real. It's not. This isn't science fiction. This is not the Twilight Zone. This is not Outer Limits. This is the real shit. And I know because I researched it and I found enough patents and enough instances of it being used. Havana syndrome is the same technology being used against the diplomats in Cuba and whatever CIA agents or FBI or whoever they've used it on. They call it a mystery, but it's not mysterious. It's all over the internet. The technology is readily available on Amazon. You can Google Amazon yourself and find the stuff yourself. You can Google gang stalking jobs on the internet and find companies hiring people to stalk a motherfucker. It isn't like it doesn't exist. It isn't like it's hidden, but it's supposed to be some big mystery or secret. It's not. It's covered up. Well, see, that's me right there, Teddy. I never did homework, but I always aced the tests. And teachers don't like that. They don't like that you don't take homework home and you still pass their tests like you're asleep. They didn't like that. Like I said, I didn't give a shit about class, but I was never held back and I always passed all my grades. But I didn't give a shit about going to class. I didn't give a shit about doing homework. But when the test came down, I knew what the hell the test was about and I passed the test. It was nothing. I'm with you there. It's easy for me. Teddy says, I don't like people much anymore based on what I've been subjected to, but I'm not the conflict type. Unless you come at me, I would defend myself. Logically speaking, I'm not going to be the one to attack, but like you said right there, I will defend myself. Are you talking to me about how I relate experience with actual use cases? Is that what you're saying? Is that personally directed at me, or is that just if it is directed at me, this is real life experience. You have your own experiences, and you're going to equate those to actual events. I mean, it's my opinion that there is no mystery. Okay, they say Havana syndrome is a mystery. The FBI calls it a mystery. Personally, that's all fluff, and that's for the news. It's no mystery to them. They know exactly what's happening. And the reason I say that is because A lot of these technologies were invented by people that worked for the NSA and the military. The reason why they want to keep it a like it's a mystery, or like they can't figure out what's going on, then they would have to divulge that they've been using this stuff on their own people for a long time. And we know how the government doesn't like to implicate themselves. I mean, you can look at Area 51, for instance, the, the base that supposedly doesn't exist. Well, Richard Dolan, who was a lawyer for several people that worked at Area 51 and became ill because of the practices in Area 51, President Bill Clinton signed an executive order that you couldn't hold them accountable for what happened there. Richard Dolan flat out said to the judge, "I don't tell me the place doesn't exist, Judge. I can drive you there. We can get in your car right now and I can fucking drive you there." So, in retrospect to that, the government does not like to be implicated in nefarious means, such as MK Ultra, Project Bluebeam. They don't like to be implicated in things like that. Granted, everybody knows it, but what are you as a layman human walking the street going to do about it? They are. They are using it on their own people. Um, a lot of the problem might be NDAs, non-disclosure agreements, um, the classified material. Um, like I've mentioned before, the Army had a web page about voice to skull technology that you could go to. And when Havana syndrome was first recognized, they took it down. You can't see that page anymore because that implicates them. They just gotta remove that shit. Yeah, voice to skull exists. You know, audio spotlight exists. You know, remote neural monitoring exists. I mean, for fuck's sake, Elon Musk is making this stuff. He's making Neuralink. That's what it is. Granted, it has to have an implant, but the real technology doesn't require an implant. They use your EMF, which everybody has, and they read your thoughts via EMF. Granted, they have to decrypt it, but they can read it. Edward Snowden talked about the NSA doing this shit 15 years ago. So, about them reading people's thoughts. And you see where he's at now. He's hiding. So, anyway, I kind of got off topic, but 07 to you too, Ollie. I think I've exhausted my information for this evening. Thank you, Teddy, for coming out and posting your comments. Um, and thank you, Ollie, and thank you, Virginia, for coming out, and whoever else showed up. I think I'm going to end this live and probably one for the books. I don't think, going to go much further with any questions or comments. And as far as you go, Teddy, being a target, just try to continue to press forward. I mean, I know it's hard. Um, I don't know what exactly all of your afflictions as far as gang stalking are, whether you get B2K or the RNM or the do weapon attacks, any of that. I personally have experienced all of them on a daily basis. But you can't give in to these terrorists. That's basically the gist of it. Don't. I mean, yeah, they hurt you, and yeah, they try to degrade you and defame your character and all the other good things, but that they do. But that's it. You got to be in for the long haul. I mean, as I've said before, I'm not gonna stop trying to pull this rabbit hole out of the ground and make everyone see it because they don't like it. I mean, they're gonna have to kill me to do that. So, have a good night, and yeah, I figured you had, but I wasn't going to assume because you know what that does. It makes an ass out of you and me. As it is on my channel, I try not to just speculate. I've done all kinds of research. I don't like to speculate on it being spiritual or aliens or reptiles or none of that crap. I focus on the technology and the reality of the surveillance and the harassment and the threats and the cyber attacks, the 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 chatting attacks in your chat rooms, all that shit. The actual physical evidence, like identity theft and things that they've done that I can actually document and put a finger on. Speculation is all well and good, but speculation is just what it is. It's a hypothetical thing that's your opinion. But until you have something concrete that you can slap somebody in the face with, it's not gonna deter the monster. So, have a good night. Thanks for coming out.